Okay, last one. Critical, right? We know we need to have a target market, and we need to be really good at provoking that target market to get a hold of us. Got it. Okay. Number 2, understanding cost. The various costs that I have in my business and how they matter.
And those are just the 3 key ones. There are a lot more.
There are more. There are more. And like I said, we'll dedicate some time to cash flow in a future one. The third one for today, as we mentioned, is I'm going to call it employees. And an old HR abbreviation for employees is just this EE.
The E.
Number 1, it is important to envision that as your business scales and gets bigger, what's the architecture have to look like? Like, where do I need talent? Don't put names in boxes. Just say, hey, I'm going to need this kind of an engineer. I'm going to need this kind of an administrative assistant. I'm going to need this kind of an estimating job. Oh, I'm going to need these people in the field. So we create that. But even before that, let's just say you already have people working for you in an organization, and it might be pretty loose, like it's not on paper, but I've got some. The important thing is to be able to first, what is it? What are my expectations of that box? And if there's somebody in that box now, okay, so that's great. That is great. So the first thing is...
So it's your organizational chart.
Well, if we don't have an organizational chart, but we have employees, I want to make sure that I've done a good job of describing, for me and for them, the expectations of the job. And this leads into the second point, a very important point. I'm always talking to clients about top grading. I'm always talking to clients about keeping their eye open for great talent. When you can find great talent, a couple of things happen. They're either going to fill a spot that's not currently occupied, or they will be able to upgrade the talent in a box that might be occupied, right? But it's always about, talent is so, human resource talent is so critically important to an organization that when you come upon someone that you just, from your own interactions with that person, you'd say, wow, I need to talk to that person some more because I'm thinking about what my company needs either now or might need 6 months from now, and I want to see how that person fits. So anyway, for the existing boxes that are there and the people who are occupying those boxes, make sure that you have articulated the great expectations that you have for them in doing that job. Then you can go to top grading. And that's a great book that by now is probably 20 years old. Unfortunately, it's about that thick. And all top grading is saying is that for any given position, given the economics that can be tolerated by that position, I'm going to get the best person for that. Right?
Okay.
Like
Apple Computer and Google and Amazon. They're hiring the best in the market. And they're treating them well, and because the culture is there. We talked about culture in an earlier episode.
Yeah. Trust me, though, whether it's Apple or Google or whoever, they're applying the principle of getting the best person they can get for the economics that's tolerable for that job. So depending on what they're hiring, if the economics that's tolerable for that job says I can spend $50,000 to $60,000, they're not searching for a $150,000 piece of talent for that. They know top grading means I'm going to get the absolute best talent I can for the economics of that job. Okay? Always look for that. That's the employee side. So top grading, describe the expectations, managing expectations. We've done that before in, I don't know, maybe, I'll guess, 5 to 6 videos ago. We talked about setting great expectations and managing to that.
But also there are non-monetary ways you can enhance an
Oh,
employee.
sure.
So if the culture, let's say they want to work from 10 till 6 and you're flexible that way, you can make that an opportunity as opposed to 8 to 4 or 8 to 5.
Yeah, that's a great point, Bruce, because I'm not passing judgment on any particular demographic at all. But in today's world, there's a demographic mix that has always been taking place, but it just seems to be creating a much more stark difference between demographics of workers, where some are truly, absolutely, and it tends to be more of a younger generation demographic. I'm not going to give it the label that you're expecting me to, okay? But a younger demographic, they just really like a lot of flexibility and the hours they apply and from where they apply those hours.
Mm-hmm.
So remote work environments are important. Flexible work environments are important. So,
and that's if the work can be done off-site.
if it can.
So if you're in manufacturing, if you're in manufacturing, there's very few people who have a lathe scene in their basement.
Yeah, right.
That they can start manufacturing
Right.
for you.
Yeah, if you do pottery, you may not have a kiln and a what do they call the forming thing? My son does pottery. Oh, sorry, Patrick. And so you very likely don't have one in the kitchen and one in the bedroom. Right? Okay, so we understand that.